can see the hate, I can see the lies. See it in your face, read it out your eyes. Why they watching me? They got their eyes on me. Why they watching me? They got their eyes on me. They want it, while I get it. They lose it while I win it. It's the rules of the game you playing. In your eyes I can see you hating. Why they watching me? They got their...
And we're live, or well, recording. How are you, Declan?
Good, mate, you?
I'm okay. You, Liam?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm okay. So, how's it been, Declan, in this lockdown? How are you coping with?
This one is a little different to the last one. Obviously, last one I was staying at home with my mum and my family all back in March. But this time I'm on my own. It's weird, and I'm in self-isolation at the minute as well. So it's weirdly silent all the time. I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah. And you're not used to being silent all the time?
No.
But are you enjoying it though?
Yeah, it's peaceful, man.
Yeah.
Like there's no negativity here. It's just the voices in my head, and that's it.
And
what's something that you're doing that's helping you cope with it? Because obviously it's different for you because you're actually completely on your own. So what's something that's helping you, or you're going to stop doing, or something like that?
I've just kept busy, like between uni work and streaming on Netflix. I've gave myself no spare time to just sit around and in the silence and do nothing. So it's either uni work, naps, or Netflix.
So why are you self-isolating at the moment?
I had a cough this weekend, and I was like, better safe than sorry, I'll order a test and put myself in self-isolation. So I did the test yesterday. They're horrific. I threw up. They're nasty. Honestly, I've never experienced anything like it, and I never want to do it again. If this comes back positive, it's going to be a double punch in the testicles. I hope it comes back negative.
I've had to do two. Horrible.
Unfortunate for you, mate. I'm not doing another one.
And you ordered one?
Yeah.
And how did you do it?
Well, I went on the government website for a start, and they kept saying that I didn't exist. So I ended up ringing 119, I think it is, and going to the helpline, and then they did some magic and it came in the post.
Wow. I thought it would be easier for me not to be found as an immigrant, but you should be on the database.
I know. It was like...
They messed up my test. They tell me, because you get contacted by test. If you test positive, you get contacted literally every day by Test and Trace. And they just kind of ask how you are, how you've been, tell you how many days you've isolated for and how many you got left, just basic stuff like that. And I was literally a couple of days away, maybe like 3 or 4 days, I think, from completing my isolation. And they rang me and they basically told me I had 14 days rather than 10. And I was like, no, like I've tested positive. And they basically told me over the phone that I'm not down on the system as tested positive. Wow. Even though have a text, right? So they put me down as being tracked and traced rather than being tested positive. And then they then rang my girlfriend to tell her the same thing. So she's isolated. To her, she's isolating because of me, and I'm isolating because of her. But then they're still telling us both that we both haven't tested positive and we're isolating. And we're like, well, how the hell does that work when you're telling her to isolate because I'm positive, and then you're telling me to isolate because she's positive, but then you're telling when on the phone that we're both negative. It doesn't make sense. But they massively ballsed it up. So yeah, they're not great.
That's the reliable British bureaucracy, that is. Always top notch. Always top notch.
I think they need to invest a bit more in the admin part. That's for sure. So Declan, one of the things I want to ask you as well, you have been a PT now for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
Since you came to the industry, has anything changed? Have you learned anything, or everything that you expected was?
I think entering as a new PT is weird, and I think I entered at probably the most awkward time possible, which is just about my luck, actually. One thing I noticed when I did enter was a lot of when you're learning to be a PT is about the PTing, and you learn very little about the business. So I was only really a PT for 6 weeks before the first lockdown, and then that shoved us into a whole new world. And PT's now changed to this sort of online weird space. And I don't really know where it is at the minute or where it's going. It might revert back in some instances when everything goes back to normal, or it could continue on this path to the whole online PT, online coaching style that a lot of people are now adopting. But I don't know what way it's going to go.
And Liam, when you first started, did you have different expectations as well?
Yeah, what Declan said is kind of spot on about when he said about they don't teach you nothing to do with business or how to interact with people. Like all you learn is the qualification of, like the basics on diets and the muscles and exercises, which obviously is a massive part of it. But to be a good PT, it's not even just about how much you know. Obviously, that is a part of it. It's also business-wise, because if you don't know what you're doing business-wise, then you're not even going to sustain yourself and be a PT for long. And working with people and communicating with people, because everyone's different. So I think that was one thing I realised when I first came into it, was that being a people person, getting along with people in different ways. And it's a shame that the course doesn't teach you that, because I think there's a very big rate of PTs that come and go. And I think that's probably one of the big reasons. But no, I think that's pretty much similar. Obviously, I didn't have to deal with COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of PTs need to, when they enter the business, they are the ones that survive is the ones that quickly adapt to the business scheme. Not only focused on knowing everything about how you should train or not. And I know that you, Liam, have started investing on the online part.
Yeah. I've done a little bit into it. I'm still unsure whether that's my 100% route. I don't want to go complete online, because I am someone that likes to have like the one-to-one side. So I do a bit of online stuff, and then I'm sticking to mainly one-to-one, because I do prefer it. I think online's great and stuff, but I do like the one-to-one interaction.
And you, Declan, do you think your career-wise as a PT, you are going down that line online?
I honestly don't know at the minute. It depends how PTing as a whole evolves over the next probably year. My aim anyway is to go further into the mental health side of coaching. So where PT goes isn't really too affecting of my career path. But it definitely plays an influence. And the thing that gets me about these online coaches is it takes out like I feel the empathy in personal training. It's all about questionnaires, weekly check-ins, and there's small little interactions that you have with people instead of these actual movements that you have with people's lives where you evolve with them. But I guess it's all to their own, and it depends on where you are in your career and where you want to be.
Yeah, for example, I see a lot of PTs having good success as an online coach, but I do think as well that connection lacks a little bit. And what do you feel? Do you think you need that connection to be closer to your client to get the results you need, or do you feel that robotic approach is simple as well, is easy to do? It will get you more results.
I think it depends on the PT and it depends on the client. Some people love the face-to-face. I've got clients myself who refuse to go any form of online training because they need someone to physically stand there and be involved with them and eye-to-eye contact and speak to them in person. But there's people that I'd be happily just send, here's a program, here's what you shouldn't eat, don't eat this, and send them on their way. So it's really dependent on the person and their needs. And it's a very weird and complex time for personal trainers globally.
Yeah. One of the first things that surprised me when I got in the industry is I always thought that I would get a PT course, someone would come to me and say, look, I want this, and I would work for them and I would just try to get them the results they needed. But I was not expecting that it was so big, the interactions that they need as well, like the constant approval of what they're doing, and even certain human interactions. Liam, do you think you got close to a lot of your clients?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a couple which, like, it's more than just you're their PT and that's it, and you do actually have a friendship and you do build something that's quite nice. And it's even with people that you probably would never have expected. I think that's one of the reasons why I love the one-to-one so much, because you build great relationships with people, you know, and you get to learn them and know them and have a joke around with them, as well as it's not all just serious, you standing there cross-armed with a straight face counting their reps. It's not always like that, you know. And then you kind of get to know that person's life quite well based on the things you speak about in the session, because again, it's not just, like, for me with my clients, it's not just about results. I care about, you know, like their stress, their mental health and that side of things, because to me that's very important. So yeah, you do get to know a lot more into your clients and you can build a sort of really good relationship with them. And then again, that makes it so much easier to when you do plan with them, because if you understand, right, they've just come away from a job interview and we've got a session later on, I'm probably gonna be a little bit more like relaxed with them, a little bit more calming, because they've probably been stressed all day. They probably want to chat more than work today, even though we are obviously going to work, but you know what I mean? I'm going to be a bit more open to conversation on that particular day. So yeah.
And Declan, do you have anything to say about that? Did you ever get really close to one of your clients?
Yeah, I'm close to a lot of my clients. I speak to them most days, and I don't see how you can't as a one-to-one personal trainer. You find out about their lives, you find out their relationships, their job, their stress, their sleep, how they eat. I don't see how you can't be close to your clients. And if the people that do put up them barriers between them and their clients, I personally don't think can get them the results or have them as long as they possibly could, because they don't build that connection. You don't learn about their life, and you can't best tailor a strategy or solution to the problems that they face in their lives unless you know about it.
Do you think this is where online coaching, for example, could lack?
I think if online coaching is done right, it can facilitate most of what one-to-one can. I think what it lacks is the emotion that you get from one-to-one. If you have a client in front of you who has a stressful day and you're trying to find out how you can alleviate that stress in some way, a strategy, and that you can see the expression on their face, you can't see that when they're filling out a questionnaire as to why they've had a bad day. It's not the same. There's no connection there. There's not the own passion in the way that it will move you to help them in the way that they need to be helped.
Yeah. I think online coaching will help certain type of people, and other people do need more of a closer support. Yeah, and to get it, do you miss going to the gym?
100%. I'm going absolutely mad. I just want to get a pump on. It's driving me insane.
I think you, Liam, and I share the same opinion than you.
I would throw in the towel and do leg day every single day for the rest of my life if it meant I could go to the gym again.
So, do you think gyms should not be closed?
No, absolutely ridiculous. That blonde man needs to have a haircut, for one, because it's ridiculous. And two, look at the data. It is absolutely astonishing how he sits there and goes, nah, shut up. It baffles me. Absolutely baffling.
Well, have you seen about the vaccine now?
Yeah, Pfizer.
Yeah.
I haven't. So
8 million, or they're secured 20 million.
30 million, third of the population.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, so the company called Pfizer, an American company, has made a vaccine that apparently is 90% effective.
Yeah.
Effective on 90% of people. It's meant to be coming out it'll be ready to come out at the end of November. And the UK has brought 30 million doses of this vaccine, which will cover a third of the population. Obviously, the vulnerable and the elderly are going to get that first. But to be honest, they're the only ones that I think need it.
Yeah. Mate, I don't want to have it. Do you know how long it takes for them to create vaccines?
Yeah, this is the quickest humans would have ever done it. The quickest after that is 4 years.
Yeah, and it's like that shit is tested for a very long time.
For a reason.
Yeah, and now they're just going to give it out, like, that scares me.
So if you don't have the vaccine, will you be able to travel? Did they say anything about that?
They haven't said anything yet, but I would assume in the next 2 years they're going to make a law where if you don't have the vaccine, you can't travel.
So what are you going to do, Liam? You're going to travel or you're going to stay in Peterborough?
I'll probably have it. I don't want the first ones to get it. What is that? Like growing a third arm or some shit.
And you, Declan, do you going to have the vaccine or not?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't... The thing that gets me with, let's say, conspiracy theories about the vaccine is since when were vaccines so bad? It was fine when it was smallpox and tuberculosis and rubella or whatever the MMR vaccine covers. I don't know why this one is much different. I get that there's a little discrepancy in cases and numbers, and there's a lot of statistics being thrown around. But if it means that we get to return to normality and I can hug my mates at the pub and I can get on a plane and go somewhere and enjoy myself for a week, I don't care.
Yeah. I think it's smaller than a lot of people. I think this is very big at the moment because we are closed at home and everything is kind of scary, and it's like our open mind is getting even more closed because we are just stuck in four walls. And I think we might be making this bigger than it is in every scenario. Liam?
Yeah, people are bored. They've got nothing to do. They've got no friends to see. They're driving themselves crazy. And because of that, people have more time to sit there and read these conspiracy theories or scroll through Facebook and read everyone's negativity on why the government's lying or why they're going to put a fucking tracking device in the vaccine. And do you know what I mean?
Do you believe in that, Declan, that we're going to have a tracking device?
No. What does the government care where I am? All I'm going to be is uni working in bed, right? I'm not committing any crimes. And if I'm not at them three places, I'm at the pub with my mates, right? It doesn't matter where I am. And why do people care? The government don't give a shit about where you are. They've got more important things to deal with, like tax and that sort of shit. They don't care where you are. They don't care what you're doing. What's the big deal?
It's boredom.
I think in a sense you can relate that to a bit of narcissism when people think government wants to know everything that I'm doing.
Paranoia.
And being a bit special. But I don't know. We could be wrong. We could be right. It's a lot of things. So Declan, when things go back to normal, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
I'm gonna get a major pump on at the gym, and then I'm gonna go get absolutely smashed out in town.
You, Liam?
Yeah, I'm a little cutie, mate.
Huh?
I'm gonna go and see the missus.
It's when things go back to normal. You guys can do it then if they lift the measures.
It's all right. I know she's going to be watching this, so brownie boy. But I just want to go out for some food and have a couple drinks. Like, yes, I'd love to go and train, but I've just missed the social aspect more than the gym. Obviously, I do miss the gym, but yeah. So I just want to go out, have some food, and have a couple of drinks, mainly to go with like some friends, my girlfriend, and that. What about you?
Oh, I need to travel, man.
Yeah, Portugal. I was going to say.
I'm getting white, mate. Look.
Yeah.
I need the sun, mate. I need the sun. Yeah. So I was going to ask you something, Declan. For you, as a PT, you really invested as well on mental health awareness, and it's really big for you. I know you are a coach as well. You study how to change behavior on people. So one of the things that gets more people on being like mental depressed or something, what is it? Why are people it's so hard for them try to communicate these issues? Or what is your advice?
I think that it's becoming less hard. I don't think it's particularly difficult to communicate issues anymore. I think if you go 2 years ago, if this happened 2 years ago, it would be a very, very different place. I think there's so much awareness and so many mental health days, mental health months, all that sort of jazz at the minute that you can't really get away from the idea that you should be talking about your feelings. I think that a lot of people, especially in the case of where they're like me and they don't have anyone physically near them to talk to, that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. And people in more isolated places where they can't really go out, that's what starts to trip people up. But there's always options. You know, social media. I think the use of social media went up by some like 40% in the first 3 days of the first lockdown. Wow. Just because the actual aspect of socializing went up on social media, not just scrolling, messaging people. All that went up. Which makes a lot of sense, just talking to people. And of course it's going to be different than in person, but it's something we have to adapt to. Even the changing from messaging to physically FaceTiming people went up exponentially, so like 76% over lockdown. And that now was the major type of talking to people in the first lockdown as compared to messaging over text. And I think even that plays a big difference. Being able to hear someone's voice as compared to seeing their text on a screen makes a big difference. So FaceTime your friends, Skype your friends, do this sort of thing, house party. And you can do games nights and things like that with your mates, even get your parents involved, do the pub quizzes. They were really popular in the first lockdown. Anything like that, just have some fun. Get a bottle of wine, some beers, whatever. Have a little drink, chill out. Everyone's stressed. Everyone's lonely, isolated. Everyone's in the same boat. But obviously, humans are selfish, and we don't see that until someone physically tells us and looks us in the eye and says, I feel the same way. And I think people need to hear that more. So just reach out. Talk to your friends. Everyone's in the same boat.
Liam, have you been drinking a lot?
I've had one or two nights where I've had a little bit to drink. But no, nothing major.
And you, Declan?
No, I've been a good boy this lockdown. I've only gone through 3 bottles of wine.
Only 3?
Yeah. That's over the past 2 weeks, so that's all right. I'm trying to stay off the booze at the minute. We'll see how long that lasts.
I haven't had anything yet, and I'm craving a beer, to be honest. I think I might do it tonight. I'm gonna tell you something. Yesterday, I did a podcast with Charles that will come out today, and he was having a beer at 11:30.
Was it his birthday?
Sorry?
Was it his birthday?
No,
I know.
It was. He's living the life. But yeah, and Declan, for example,
I kind of want to touch up again on like the mental health side of things. I think a lot of people's biggest problems is, you know, when someone's going through what they're going through, it's hard for them to be able to speak out about it because that other person that they're speaking to isn't going through that. So it's hard to be able to explain how they're feeling and explain what they're going through and feel like they're getting the, you know, like the understanding from that person. Because it's very easy for someone just to nod their head and go, I understand. And I think that's, you know, it kind of what Declan said about the isolation thing when people are on their own. You can be around people and you're actually still isolating yourself from that person, even though you're with them physically. And I think that's why people find it. I know there's a lot of stuff out there like Movember and spreading awareness and there's days and all that stuff. But I think when someone is depressed, like, you feel alone. So even for that person, everyone else might have a better understanding around it and might be more open to hearing things. But if you're that person, it's so much harder still. And I don't think it's changed much for that individual who's going through it to speak out, just because they feel like they are on their own or that other people won't understand them or be able to like have empathy towards it and understand. And, you know, so I think leading back to the Movember thing, I think it is obviously great that everyone is spreading awareness, but unless you're going to that person, I don't think they will necessarily open up to you and speak to you about it. So obviously with this lockdown, again, I think it's quite good that people need to not just sit back and let that person come to them, but be able to go to them and speak to them and ask them if they're okay, or you've been down, do you want to speak about it? Because I think that's the most important thing to do.
Okay. Declan?
I completely agree. And I talk about this in my podcast. When I went on a bit of a rant about World Mental Health Day, because although all these awareness days and awareness months and all these different charities and things are out there telling you that negative mental health is a thing and reducing the stigma of mental health, they're not telling you how to deal with it. They're just saying that, look, here it is, we've got a problem, but we don't really know how to deal with it. We'll leave that to the counsellors and the psychiatrists. So yeah, but what you touched on there, Liam, about asking people going out is the best thing to do. And it's the way you ask someone. So if you're worried about a friend, don't just ask if they're all right. Ask how their parents are, how their siblings are, how their job's going, how they're finding lockdown. Show genuine intrigue in someone's life, and that's going to make them feel less alone. And it's also going to make them spill things that they wouldn't otherwise if you just go, "You all right?" Because everyone just goes, "Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?" It's just the British response. Ask more. Delve a little bit deeper, make them tell you specific facts about their life, and they're more likely to tell you that little bit more about them.
Declan, is it possible? For example, you spoke that you're feeling alone, for example, and the voices in your head. You said I'm
Yeah.
with the voices in my head, but I think that if someone is struggling and their environment is very negative,
Hmm.
uh, how can they? Because I don't think the solution is only people go after the other person. I think if I go ask someone every day how you doing, and how's your parents and stuff, and they say yeah it's fine, oh they done that, but when this person is by himself, on his own head, he's his worst enemy.
Hmm.
How can he help himself to get out of this thing? Because I believe that if your environment is so negative and everything that you put in your head is negative, if you're constantly thinking of things that you don't have or you need to have to be happy, I think you are in a constant spiral of making yourself unhappy. How can
Yeah.
someone shift from that?
Right. So the environment thing you nailed. If you leave a plant in poisoned soil, no matter how much you water it, no matter how many nutrients you give it, it's never going to grow because of the soil poisoned. Same with someone's environment. You only grow for which the environment allows you to, right? And if you're sat in a lockdown and you're not feeling very good, you're lonely, you're depressed, you're full of angst because you don't know what the future holds, and your environment is the same, your brain is associating the environment around you with the negative feelings you already have. The quickest way you can change your environment is to paint your walls. That's it. Just go and buy a fancy paint, whether it's pink, green, yellow, orange. I don't give a shit. Go and buy a bucket of paint and paint your walls a new colour. It instantly changes the environment that you're in, right? It will take you a day and you're done, right? From here, you can start to associate that environment to a new habit. So you've painted your walls orange, but now you're going to meditate in that room every day. You've associated a new good habit with that orange room. Or it might not even have to be time consuming like meditating. It could be you're going to drink a fruit smoothie only in that room and you're going to start to do healthy behaviours. You're now facilitating that new orange room with healthy, happy behaviours. Maybe you only watch comedies in your front room that you've just painted bright pink, right? Because comedies make you happy. Now you're associating happiness with the bright pink walls and you've changed your environment and the association that your brain has to them. It's all about association, classical conditioning. What I talked to you about, Pavlov's dog in the gym. Yeah, so a Russian scientist called Pavlov had a dog, right? He wanted to get it to salivate. God knows why. He's a freaky guy. So what he did was dangled a bit of beef in front of his dog. No, Liam, it's actual beef. And he got it to salivate, right? But he wanted to do it without the beef. So what he did was he rung a bell at the same time as he dangled the beef. And then he put the beef away and just rung the bell. And eventually the dog salivated the sound of the bell because he recognised it and changed to the beef. Same idea. Associate. So you want something good to happen or a new behaviour to come in, associate it with something good. If you want to, let's say, quit smoking, right? Every time an urge comes on, do something else and associate that urge with a positive habit instead. So instead of, oh, I feel like I'm going for a fag, no, you're going to go for a 500-metre walk around the block. Every time you feel like you're going to have a cigarette, and Filipe, you have the time now that you're in lockdown. So every time that you feel you're going to have a cigarette, you're going to go for a walk around the block. It'll only take 10 minutes. It's fine. It's probably the amount of time you'd spend on a cigarette break at work. So that's how you associate the new good habit with the old bad one.
I don't know if I'm going to switch that up yet.
No, I wouldn't thought you would.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. That's interesting, but it's like I said to you, is like I think there's some stuff that people needed to do. For example, that this is a really good tip, and I think people should do a lot of more stuff that they actually enjoy.
Mm.
I remember, for example, you mentioned their comedy, and I remember being 18 or 17, I don't remember really, and I went through a bad stage, and nothing major, but I went through a bad stage that for a week I didn't want to leave the house. And what I started was I started watching at the time Conan O'Brien
Hmm.
on repeat, and I would laugh my head off, even though I was stuck in my room.
Hmm.
And that helped me to one of my friends when they say, let's go out, to start going out with them and doing stuff. And that I do believe that comedy is a big part to help people to break that. Because I think in the end of the day, it's all about chemical reactions. And if you're constantly thinking about things that are stressing you out, that are making you feel empty, you harming yourself. If
Hmm.
you spend watching comedies, for example, it releases positive things on yourself.
Hmm.
What is it? No, serotonin is sleep, isn't it?
Serotonin, yeah, serotonin, dopamine, anything like
Dopamine. Yeah. So it releases that, and you start being a happier person. And I think you need to feed yourself in a way more of this positive stuff than being negative. Although we know that lockdown is not easy, but it's not easy for everyone. We're not special in any way. Um, we're just going through this, and yeah, that's my rant about this. Because I could go on. Because you know what? Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because it does affect me in so many ways. Because a lot of people go through a lot of stuff, and I know that people feel different. But when a strong person goes through stuff as well, he's not taken in consideration just because he is strong, and their or her feelings are not that valuable, and it's not that important. He's strong or she is strong, it doesn't matter. And I think that a lot of times people that go every day through stuff don't 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 appreciate the feelings of the other person that tries to deal with their stuff in their own way.
that.
And I think they take the value of this person as well. And that sometimes when some issues are repetitive, it puts you in a way that you know what you need to do to sort yourself out, and you haven't. And I had conversation with people on my family that I've said, why are you not doing this, why are you not doing, and they say, I'm not like you, or uh, you're different. It's like, you don't know what I went through. You don't know what I went through, what I've been through. uh, this everything that I am today, it was self-taught, and it was through stuff that I dealt with. So don't take the value of my things that I think it hurt me in a way as well. um yeah. And I just think that sometimes when someone is strong, it's not truly appreciated, when we are living in a society nowadays that everything is I don't understand why people put themselves in pictures crying and say, this is me depressed, and then they put a picture of me smiling, this is me smiling but I'm still depressed. I was like, you promoting this behavior, you making yourself uh, you're putting a label on yourself of the depressed person. Why are you not trying to tell people, this is what I'm trying to do to be better? Why are people, same thing with the people, be fat is good now. It's like, I don't understand. And I think that people need to stop seeing themselves as a victim. I know, Declan, that we disagree in a lot of stuff, but I think people seeing themselves as a victim doesn't help them, and they need to take accountability on the things that they feel, and they need to be better. Do you disagree with me?
No. So when people, the victim personality, it all boils down to the fact that they're not kind of ready yet for a change. So when I went and studied hypno, we were told that the only reason someone can't go into trance is because they're not ready to. I don't know how factually and objectively relevant that is. But the victim personality is the fact that they need help. They don't know how to deal with the problems that they currently have. And so this projection comes out like they're compensating in some way. Now, everyone, I'm sure, at one point in their life has acted the victim in one case or another, and it's perfectly human to do so. I think what starts to get you, Filipe, is the people that are victims all the time. And I completely agree there. If you're constantly playing the victim and doing nothing about it, that's where it starts to get annoying. It's okay to be in the dumps every now and then. Everyone gets in it. Everyone's a victim every now and then. But to be the victim in every case is quite fraudulent.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I struggle is that I like to help people in a way, and especially when I see this person has more potential that this person is showing at the moment, and I try to help this person, and this person is always falling on bad behaviors or being their worst enemy. It upsets me deeply and frustrates me. And when this person finds excuses not to achieve that, it upsets me even more. And this has happened all my life, but yeah. What can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you do, in that circumstance, you do have to look at maybe the actual mindset of the person. There's a reason why they're acting that way. There's a reason why they're always choosing the bad path, and coming at it a little more empathetically. I agree, it's incredibly frustrating, especially for someone who can change things quite fast. And it is often difficult to understand why other people can't. But maybe there's something gone on in their past or something's going on in their present that's ensuring that their mindset never changes.
So, Declan, are you ready for the gyms not to be open on the 2nd of December?
No, I need them open.
And you, Liam?
I will not be. I will march up to Whitehall myself and drag that scraggy-haired ball bag out of his house and make sure he opens.
I don't know. I think with the vaccine thing, I think now they might open it.
When you said that, when you guys were talking, I said in the end of November they're gonna have the vaccine. I start thinking straight away that this is a plan now. They put everyone in houses again to say we're gonna open on the 2nd of December because we will have vaccines now. It might be all the move, but
I think what they might do is obviously all the vulnerable people, elderly, and will get it first. So I presume they'll probably get a doctor note to send to them. I think what they should do is to open up the country. All them people, they just need to book their vaccination, and they need to stay at home until they've got that vaccination and just let the rest of the country go back to fucking work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't need a vaccine. I'm fine. I'm fit. I'm healthy. You know, like someone who's 70, who might have some health complications, they need a vaccine. So just so that we can open the rest of the country up, let people go back to work, let everyone sort their finances out, their mental health, their physical health, just for the sake of a third of the population who are the ones that are vulnerable to stay at home just a little couple more days while they get a vaccine. I think that might sound selfish, but at the end of the day, we've done in total now about 5-6 months worth of lockdown. So it's getting to a point now where it's like, look, if I'm not going to get a vaccination for probably a long time, why do I need to sit there and isolate? Well, these people that have got the vaccination, the country will now open up. So maybe they should just stay at home, put up with it for a little bit longer. Probably if they're going to have it at the end of November, they might only have to sit at home for a couple of days and then just wait on a time slot to get obviously the injection. But I think that's just coming from a little bit of a selfish standpoint because I'm just getting a bit pissed off with it now.
Yeah, who isn't? Did you guys sign the petition to open the gyms?
Of course.
No.
I haven't yet as well. We need to. But anyway, it's supposed to be 100,000 and it's already 600,000, isn't it?
Yes, it's meant to be being discussed on the 19th, I believe, next week.
Wow.
But I don't think it'd do anything.
Our government is criminally unoriginal. The ending of lockdown will happen the same way as last time. They will periodically unlock sectors. Hopefully they won't be absolute king morons this time and they open gyms before pubs. But this is Boris and his band of buffoons, so that isn't guaranteed. But I'm assuming that with the amount of support and badgering that the public have given the government over the shutting of gyms, they'll open them a bit sooner than everything else.
I think they will, because if you look at statistics and all the track and trace sort of stuff, the gyms are one of the lowest. The gyms are the cleanest, and that was one of the things which was criticised the most at the beginning was the gyms. The gyms shut early because the gyms are dirty and the gyms are not clean, and in reality, the gyms have been one of the best because realistically,
it just shows how much people know.
Yeah. So if I don't think they could get 5 million or however many fucking signatures, it won't make a difference. If the government do not want to open that gym, the gyms will not open.
Yeah.
I think if they go by what's happened previous lockdown and what they opened, which it then spiked, and the other things they put in place, such as the eat out, help out sort of stupid scheme that was, then if they're going by that sort of stuff, I'm hoping that the gyms can open first, and then they should do it. They should do it in stages, maybe in a different order, and leave a little bit more time in between to see what really is the problem, and then whatever that, if it spikes too high, whatever they just introduced, take back out, let it calm down, and just do it slowly, because we're not, until the whole country is vaccinated, we're not getting out of it.
Yeah. Declan, to finish, a political question for you.
Oh, good.
Why was Boris so great to get Brexit done, and the English people loved him, and now that he put people at home to save them, why is he not good anymore?
Boris got in because he's a lot like Churchill. Churchill and Boris are great speakers, and they both talk about the economy. They're the two big things that a politician needs to get into power. And that's it. He was a popular speaker. He's very articulate when he speaks. He doesn't stutter a lot. He obviously has done in a lot of the press conferences, but before now, when he was running up to becoming Prime Minister, he was a very, very good speaker. And even if you look at American presidential candidates, they were all very, very good speakers, public speakers, and they're able to talk to people. The Boris came along at the same generation or political generation as Trump, where a lot of the Western world is very racist. So obviously Brexit was going to always be the main cause, especially after something like 2 years of it. Everyone was fed up. They were done. They just wanted it over, and Boris was the only one that was promising that, and that's the only reason he got in.
Why was he so popular when he wanted Brexit?
Because when Brexit was going on, it was going on for 2 years. and everyone was fed up of hearing about the European Union. They were fed up of hearing the word Brexit. Even the word itself makes me want to jump out of this window next to me in front of a bus. Everyone's fed up of it. And Boris said, if you vote me in, I'll get it done quicker than anyone else. And to be fair to him, he has. Whether I agree with Brexit or not, he's told everyone, he's done what he told everyone he was going to do. And we leave on December 31st.
And that's it. Thank you, guys. See you soon. And I hope we do this again. See you.
Yeah.
Yeah.